Part 12. Knowing what you are doing and why. One of the honest signals in sales training you used to hear it all the time and maybe you still do. Is this on? Plan your work and work your plan. I have heard it 100 times at least, and I am sure that everybody above a certain age in the automobile selling business has heard in that mass or more. It used to be said so often everybody made jokes about it. But let me tell you something that I have learned in my years in these businesses. That is the best advice you get. The terrible with slogan is that it is so cute and tricky, and it is said so much it loses its meaning. But with the meaning is still the best advice you can get. It really says two different things. But one is that you should be in command of yourself and of what you do. That means that you are not opening by a chance or accidents, such as who happens to walk through the door with your plan of your business. When you are the head of the line of salesmen, to is that it is to figure out right moves to make them they will bring in business for you. I have talked about business cards and direct mail and breed dogs and phone calls. I have not said very much about what we mostly think of as selling. I have said very little about what you say to prospect when you are finally have him face to face. I will say a good bit about that in the chapters to come, but if you don't read beyond this chapter and if you do things I have described, you will sell a lot of whatever you will sell. That will happen as several reasons, but the most important of those reasons is that will get a lot of people coming and asking for you, or you will have more prospect to call on. And even if you really on adherence of below average presenter and closer, you are bound to be a lot of better than you ever did before in your life. You don't have to close better to sell more. Remember that we have been talking about planting and harvesting, filling and implementing this stage to fares well. We have been talking about the odds and the probabilities and of your business. Now there is no way you can doubt that if you do everything in the face-to-face selling solution exactly that why we have to always done it before. You will sell a lot of more if you don't a lot of more. We are now talking about nothing but quantity. I am really serious. If you get twice as many people to come to you every day, you will sell twice as many people as you need used to. If you were a normal piece of to sell 50% of your customer, if you have to a day, you get on sale a day. That is basic arithmetic. You don't have to have a high school diploma to figure that out. But now let's go some bigger numbers. If you are manage get 4 customers a day and do the same thing as before, you will still sell only half of them. But now you will getting to sales a day. You have just deployed your output. You think I am trying to be funny, but I am not. I am doubtly serious. As I said before, just stop and think how much time you spend doing nothing but waiting to traffic through the door or a lead to call in. Up to now, maybe the throw that was how it works. Maybe you figure that what you are making as all the you should expect to make unless you get lucky. We have probably had heart seekers when everything worked for you. The traffic streamed through the door and everybody who comes in both the choice of what usually buy. How you will say it, if only I could keep this up. Well, let me tell you something. You can keep at it. For source, you can get more people to come in to see, and even if they only buy as often as mouse before, you will be on a permanent hot shrink compared to your usual volume. How to boost your kill rate in another story, and you will get to same parts of it. But that really does not matter at all. You get the first part right. That is, if you get more people coming through the people door to you see, and the way you don't that does you get back and that tired old slogan. Plan your work and work your plan, and do it, do it, do it. Work smart, not hard. I am not joking. What I am saying is that the way to get the job done is to be decide what it is. Every day, I mean you must. I don't say should. Take some time every morning and decide what you are going to do that day, and then you must do it. Don't get me wrong. I am not staying here processing about the goodies or hard work. I don't believe in hard work. I believe in good work. I believe in smart work. I believe in effective work. Work that works. So what I do every morning in the figure out what I am going to do that day. The first thing I do is check my appointment book to see what I am logged into. It might be a lunch with a finance company loan offers. It might to be I called some customer on other day who was due for a new car. It's a good thing to arrange your card file to sold customer in more than way on way. You want to have the emphasize the sum can somebody by name, but it also helps another to be said so that somebody big more from yesterday he goes to bag on that file and so on. That way you can start from fun to and see which due sometimes when I have some free time. I call those people just to remind them that maybe they want to come and talk about a new car. I'll do that with a lot of the list around the time a new models coming. If I have been doing that lately, I will have a member of appointments in my book spread over a month or so. That is because I try to get people to set a day and the time when they will be man. I don't just send the new covers and in your errand. I hope you drop by to sit them. A lie into them. Come on this afternoon, Sam. Out for. Okay. If I can make them, it have to give me there when he can. And then I have a customer coming in and I write down in my book, then there I have a pretty good money. But I never trust it. Alright, so I check my book and see that I have been appointment in the afternoon. Obviously, I can't predict who will come in the blue and ask for me. A lot of people do every day. I am not surprised when they do because particularly everything I do every day is amid is getting the flow at the people into me. But there will be free time during every day and I want to be sure that I am going to be filling it with something designed to get even more of them in. Since my direct mail program is too big for me to handle on my own those days, I have people who work for me, but in the days before I reached it presential, I did myself spending out a certain member of pieces very morning. Usually, I did it during the times when I was next up and had nothing else to do. At those times, I wanted to be able to leave whatever I was doing to handle the next customer through the door because it was my town. Addressing mail is the safest thing to do at this time. If you are on on phone when you are up. You run at the risk of having to tell a phone prospect that you will call him back, and that is something you never went to do. But when I was not up, I was working on some direct mail or making some calls, or I was to building some goodwill somewhere on the promise. Maybe out of back in the service department. I'll explain later how important I consider my relations with the part of the operation. Or maybe I am upstairs talking to the people on the office itself. The administrative part of sales opinion can make the difference between a satisfied and a dissatisfied customer, even when you do everything right. Loss on day, but not 250. But I want to say one thing about my work schedule. If I get up in the morning and feel desperate for some reason I can't sink it, I may decide not to go work at all, or I may look on the window and decide it's a good day or go out in my boat. I don't do that very often, maybe once or twice a year, and I don't recommend not working as well a blind business, but something you just are not going to be worth everything on the job. If you are go in on that day, you may wind up making a bad mistake or getting into a fight with somebody that will cost you 250 people. That seems like what the day is going to be about. If you are better off not going in. Cancel your appointments if you have any, and then play golf or go to a movie or the races or that yourself well in some other way. That's not say that you are not training yourself well when your work will and make the money and place customers. But if you really are converted that you are meant to do anybody any good by doing the work, if for a morning, on the afternoon, or while a day, then don't do it because you don't want to carry the situation of any kind into your place or business. They can be like a conscious decide. If those feeling if keep for more than a day, if you have problems that I can't help you solve, but they happen just on the wall, the plan your day to do something else, but a demand sure other reason if you're feeling this feeling is not because you don't do a good job the day before, because it's that why you feel that way. I have found that the best way to put is the goal in the work with a plan and result to do better. On sure way to get over the dissatisfactions on a bad day is review the dead day and try to understand what happened in you happened. I do that the end of every working day. I replay the day, examine every sale, and I made every on I lost. That's right. I don't sell everybody I see, which is why I spend too much of my money and energy making sure that I will see a lot of people. I play passengers I recommend that you to play. Maybe I sell only half of the people I see in a day, but that usually means I see at least 10 people and sell at least 5 of them. I have been averaging better than 5 cars a day in the recent years, but because I have a high scale rate, because I have a high prospect rate. But I'll go over every contact I made during the day. What did I say to follow? Then finally met him by. Why I did other guy from state department really not buy? Was he just shopping or for sport? On this way, the easy way explain away some mistake I made. When I first began to do this kind of customer by customer analytics on my day, if you could not think of mistake I made, would something call up the customer I lost. I would tell him who was kind of why I was calling. People usually went to help you. I don't say I was trying to learn the business and plan from my mistake. A lot of the times they went say that the well found the Plymouth guys from way back, but they just wanted to see a counterwork maybe had something that causes no about. They might mean I don't sell my product well yet against my competition. On they might be tell me they got a better price somewhere else. I don't question them very carefully about the optional equipment they got, the trade alloys, the car. Something a salesman who has some people over the price he serves get too greedy and does not recognize that a small card of something struck train a can or look of a deal. Internally, my replay of each day is not just my idea. Some of the greatest and most successful people in history deployed this habit and attribute much of their success to it. I know that for me, the time it takes me have been renowned honestly. When some good advice, try it. I always try to compare my own feeling about a customer, especially if I lose him with what he says about why he don't buy from me and did from somebody else. People something think they know more about themselves and their feeling and relations they are actually do. And there is nothing more important to learn about yourself than the difference between the way you see something and the way to give on the other side of the deal see it. Because you will never win to be the other side. Your success in winning the way that comes with narrow of the finally estimating to gap between the customer. You win both of the same side and what is the means is that you have to in managing you get the both the same side. Whatever tools and methods you use to do it. Knowing what you lost help you win. But I always want to know why I lost every sale I lost. And I hardly ever accept I was just looking and other answer because if somebody takes to my time his to come all the way over the place just alone, he is already pretty sold and I want to know why I don't get him totally sold. I think that this is a rule of the good maybe 95% of the time if automobile selling and it is probably good most of the time every day I kind of selling. If someone come in and I just looking as another interest to be sold the most of the time. So if you let him just look every time, you are probably not getting ordinary side share of sales. And if you try and fail, I don't source in of your mind to just looking. Analyze your performance in the confirmation and they to see where you failed and confront him. Because since you are dead fail. This sounds like negative rather than positive thinking, but it's not at all. Look at it this way. You are taking most perspective when you believe that you should be able to sell everybody who comes in. Realistically, of course, nobody can do that, but it is still a very effective attribute to have. This emphasizes you may to analyze the every loss of sale you lost to sell. You can try correct and mistake that next time you run into some kind of solution. Just keep in mind that somebody who is just looking may really be saying that it is scared of your mind and your ability to get him and part with his money. Even if it's something you really want to buy, I have called it the selling solution of where the contest and competition. But I don't mean that it should be this way then you are in the situation. Your wasting marks would not get your customer over his fear. But once you have him in front of you, your most effective approach may be let him, not make him, and that applies a good events to look or tell about or anything else. But it's a feel free. Even to walk he was yet over the fast fare, and that is what you went. I have heard it said that anyone who sells as many cars as I do must be strictly a high-spirited salesman. To be a high-spirited salesman tries to make people buy. I let them buy. I believe on the most important determining traits of a sale is, does the prospect like, trust, and believe me? If I fail to develop those attitudes in a prospect, chances are I have failed to make a sale. It's a priority throw to make someone like you, but you can buy those things, say and do. Let him like you. I feel this philosophy has helped make a number one. And if you want to make a lot of money selling, then you too should develop the philosophy. Let him, don't make him. Attitude planning is as much of a part of planning your selling ideas as anything else. If you feel lazy, you still usually have to go to work. So what you have to do is get hold of your negative feeling, whatever it is, and face it, even if you can't make it go away. The away when you get somebody through the let the door on the door phone. You can solve is a lazy feeling aside, but first you have to recognize how you feel, or else you want to be able to plan and deal with your own feeling, and you can be sure that if you are not in control of what is going on inside of you, you will correctly communicate your bad feeling to somebody who comes in suspicious of your to brain with. When I replay my day is night, I find that I really can have total recall what have I said and did. And I did not feel asleep until I am sure that there was nothing I could have be done to convert the rebugs and the other lost cell. And I remember that be the back the better the writing of the minute he walks up the door. I think I am pretty good as targeting customer and the hanking onto them. But when I hear a guy say all the back, I figure he gone forever. Sometimes they do come back because some people really do tell the truth. But if you are continuing on be bugs a part of your future earning, you are still an amateur who is faulting himself. One thing that I have found, it's a something nobody likes to admit, is that maybe somebody else can sell a person if you can't. A lot of business require that the salesman turn over a customer to somebody else in the place before they let him walk. I like to think that nobody is better than I am, but nobody is perfect, so it's a something useful to bring over somebody else in a way that does not make the customer more resistant. You don't want him to think he is bring prosperity. For a while, I used to have an agreement with other salesmen in my place that if they did not sell somebody, I wanted to pay them 10 USD for a chance to try to sell him myself. I won't ask you to believe that I could not sell them all, but I did sell some of them. I quit doing that because the other salesman gets secure when I get the big commission. And all the got was his 10 USD bill. They did not accept the idea then my 10 USD bill began all the right to customer, and they have give up on. They wanted to escape the communication with me. So I dropped the idea. I suggest that if you want to try anything like that, you make sure that everybody understands in advance the terms in of the agreement, but I also recommend trying it something because there is no better practice on your selling techniques than working on somebody who is about to walk out, and there is no better feeling than when you convert onto in a sale. In a way, it's something on the very best test your skill, but if you are going to try it, be sure that you know something about the selling methods and techniques of other people in your place of businesses. That way, you can try something different from what of the other salesman did. There is no point in doing and saying something of the customer that other salesman tired. You want to approach him differently. Of course, some things it's useful to do stand to be asking him what he was looking for and needed that the other fellow did show him. You don't want to run down to people you work with, but something it's you ask a question like that. I will let a person know that you are trying to help him, and he will let down his ground and help sell himself. As I have been saying, the most important thing a salesman can do is get them through the door so he can face them. Getting them into requires planning, and planning requires making a lot of decisions about who your best prospects are, how they can be researched most effectively and commonly. You have to make decisions about the cost of getting prospect and his potential value once you have him, but what dimensions and cost and value is availability your time. If you have a lot of unoccupied time and you work well on the telephone, it may must ignore some days to conclude of the phoning old customer or even be box if you were able to get their names and address before they got away. Phone calls may work well for you, but they take a lot of time per call and per prospect. When you don't have that kind of time, sending out a few mailing pieces is good as a many other way the using FaceTime. It currently is the most useful way to fill up time when you are the next up the floor because you cannot entertain and anytime your next customer walks in. The point is that you can plan this kind of activity with a lot of currency. That unexpected happens almost every day, the most salesmen, so you cannot nail everything down perfectly. And you should be ready to sense your plan, whatever something clearly more productive comes along. The value of the plan for keeping yourself moving and keeping the flow of prospects coming in the observes. But even when you have to sense plan, you still get a lot of mountain by have a plan in the first place. If I know exactly what I intend to do when I come into the showroom in the morning, that knowing motivates me a lot of more struggling than if attitude with the weight than sin. You have probably been told all kind of things to say to yourself in the mirror to light your spirits and clear your mind of negative thought. I clearly don't want to connect any of that it works for you, but in my own experience, I don't know anything that gets me closer to that first sale of the day than the plan I made every morning. Because when I walk out of the door of my house in the morning, one thing is for sure. I know where I am going and what I am going to do, and whether or not the whole thing changes the minute I walk into the office does not matter because I come in with motivation with ensure that I had an important reason for being there, and that is the most important reason for planning your work. Even if you cannot work out every or any detail for your plan that day, it is the first push that you give yourself that moves you closest to first sale. I don't have to tell a professional salesman how important the first sale in the day is. You know how good it feels. You know it makes you feel that you are in the right business, at the right place, at the right time. Plan your work every day and work your plan if you can. That may be old fashioned saying, but I think I have demonstrated how much value it still has for all of us. And then finish your day with a review of everything you did see, how good your plan was, and how realistic it was. If you keep feeling short of your instinct to do, don't beat yourself up. Maybe your problem is that you are trying to do too much. I am not trying to let anybody off the hook. All of us work pretty hard a lot of the time. But the question, as I have said, is how hard we work, but how well. So, if you planned to make the phone calls and made only 5, and did you work your plan for those 5, that is a kind of those thing you went to ask yourself when you review your day. This is the kind of question that really gives you the measure of your motivation and your effectiveness as a professional. Plan your work, work your plan, do it. Thanks for listening.